Tragic news out of Fairborn tonight.
Fairborn City Schools Superintendent Gene Lawley just informing us through the district's Facebook page that a high school student was killed in a car accident earlier today. He says a support team of psychologists and counselors will now be available at Fairborn High School tomorrow. They're going to be in the Commons area from 9 to 11 a.m., then again from 5 to 7 p.m. A candlelight vigil will follow. Superintendent Lawley says teens may be more distracted or absent-minded than usual and that their sleep and appetite may be disrupted. Lawley says to give your child plenty of opportunity to talk about what happened and to make sure to listen to what they're feeling. Now, there are grief and crisis resources available on Fairborn City Schools website as well. That's fairborn.k-12.oh.us. All evening and weekend activities this weekend at the district, though, are canceled.
And school districts are working to find solutions after several fights were reported at schools around the area. Just earlier this week, 8 teens were arrested following a fight at Dunbar High School. Clara Faith joins us live in studio. And Clara, what have you learned about that fight?
We received a police report from the Dayton police, which is right here behind me, explaining what happened when officers arrived. According to this report, it began with a person refusing to leave a basketball game. DPD requested more officers after a large fight broke out in the parking lot between nearly 30 students. I spoke with the legal experts, and he explained what could happen next for the 8 students arrested.
They're dealt with in the juvenile justice system, so therefore, if they're found responsible for it, they're not convicted of a crime. They are found to be delinquent. They don't have a criminal record because they're not convicted of a crime.
So, Clara, how are the students being disciplined tonight?
I received a statement from Dayton Public School Superintendent Dr. Elizabeth Lawley, which says in part DPS students involved in any type of fight are disciplined as accordingly. According to the students' code of conduct, the safety of students and staff is the district's utmost priority, and many steps are taken to ensure the safety of all students, staff, and other authorities who attended the district athletic events. And coming up later at 10 and 11, I spoke with Huber High Superintendent about their fights at Wayne High School. He shares how his district is finding a solution to violence on school grounds.
Clara, thanks so much. One man is in custody tonight after a SWAT standoff in the 800 block of St. Agnes Avenue in Dayton this afternoon. Now, Dayton police say they got reports of a weapons complaint, which then turned into a domestic violence situation. Investigators tell us the suspect had a baseball bat, rifle, and handgun and made threats. He refused to come out of the house for a couple of hours, so SWAT was then called in.
When he saw that the SWAT team was here, he realized that police weren't going to go away. And he came out on his own, which is exactly what that's what we want them to do, is to come out on their own. That way we don't think, go to other means to get them out, like tear gas and things like that.
No one was hurt, thankfully. Major Brian Johns tells us the suspect does have a lengthy criminal history and now faces domestic violence and aggravated menacing charges.
The Kettering Police Department updating us on their investigation into the ongoing mail thefts in the area. Last night, the department says it conducted a search warrant, found hundreds of stolen checks. 5 people were arrested in connection, charged with felony receiving stolen property. If you used the Stroop Road Post Office outdoor drop boxes between 5 and 9 p.m. yesterday, contact Detective Morgan at the department at 937-296-2559. The department wants to remind everyone to not use outdoor mail drop boxes. Instead, give your mail to the carrier or use the indoor drop boxes at the post office.
And Xenia police are asking for your help to identify a person of interest. Officers were called to the 400 block of Stelton Road Sunday night after 3 shots were fired into a home there. 2 people were inside at the time. Thankfully, neither was hurt. But take a good look at this video. You see right there, this video shows a person wearing a dark colored hoodie, camouflage pants, and basketball shoes behind the houses in that area in the same time frame of the shooting. So if you recognize the person in this video or have any other information, you're asked to call Xenia Police Division Criminal Investigation Section at 937-376-7206. You can also leave a voicemail at the Xenia Police tip line. That's 937-347-1623. And you can also email the lead investigator. That's Detective Swihart at the email there on your screen.
Live look at the U.S. Capitol building now, where a government shutdown has been averted at least for one more week. President Biden signing the stopgap bill this afternoon. That measure extends government funding to next Friday to give lawmakers more time to finalize a full year-long funding bill. The Senate passed that bill late last night in a 71-19 vote.
All right, so there's no arguing that the cold has finally arrived. You can see here some parts of the region sitting right at 32 degrees freezing. Greenville sitting colder than that, 30 degrees. And right here in Dayton sitting around 35. So it's going to be pretty cold. Taking a look at our future temperatures, though, through the night tonight, going to drop down into the 20s for all of us by 7 a.m., sitting around 28 here in Dayton. So going to be a very chilly night. Through the day tomorrow, not much is going to change. Going to stay very cold. We do have the chance of some flurries, which I'll get to in just a moment. But by 7 p.m., still sitting around 28. So we only top out around 30 degrees tomorrow. Going to be very cold. I'll have more in a moment on the possibility of some flurries.
Tim, thanks so much. As we get closer to Christmas Day, many people are waiting on those last-minute packages and gifts to arrive. But thousands of Americans are going to be impacted by those on the naughty list. Scams are becoming more common as con artists find new ways to extort millions of dollars out of everyday consumers. Melena Brown has the scams that you need to be on the lookout for.
If it seems too good to be true, it probably is, and if it seems suspicious, trust your instinct. Both of these messages were conveyed to me today when talking to Norman Scarce, owner of Precision Painting, as well as John North, president and CEO of Dayton's Better Business Bureau, when talking about holiday scams and local scams right here in our community.
Scams happen all throughout the year, but during this last several months of the year, during the holiday season, it is literally a breeding ground for scammers.
From delivery scams to fake websites, scammers are constantly finding new ways to con people out of their money and their personal information. During the holiday season, you may see hot ticket items like kid toys and electronics listed for significantly lower prices, or you may get a text that your package wasn't able to be delivered and to follow a link.
You click it, they download malware to your computer or to your phone, and they get all of the information that you have stored on your phone.
But scams don't just happen to consumers, they can also happen to businesses. Scammers will contact local business owners acting as though they want to pay for services and then send fake checks. This happened to Precision Painting owner Norman Scarce not once, but twice. He received text messages from someone claiming to be an out-of-state investor who wanted work done and what the next steps would be.
We'll put you in contact with our general contractor who was there locally. That person, of course, never existed. And they're very diligent about wanting you to deposit the check that they send.
After depositing the check, he was told to give money to a contractor that would start the work, but fortunately Scarce took the check to his bank and they immediately knew it was fraudulent, even though to him, it seemed legitimate. Coming up at 6:30, stay tuned on tips on how to avoid these scams and what to do if you find yourself wrapped up in one. In Dayton, 24/7 Now News, Melena Brown.
Melena, thanks. Brittany Greiner has left the Texas military facility, is back home with her wife in Arizona tonight. The WNBA star arrested at a Russian airport back in February, convicted on drug-related charges, sentenced to 9 years in prison. Now, she was freed in a high-profile prisoner swap with Russia last week. And Greiner says she won't stop fighting to bring Paul Whelan and other Americans home as well. She posted this to her Instagram today in her first comments since being released. Greiner says in part, quote, "The last 10 months have been a battle at every turn. I dug deep to keep my faith, and it was the love from so many of you that helped keep me going. From the bottom of my heart, thank you to everyone for your help." Greiner made sure to say she plans to play in the WNBA again this season, to say thank you to her fans and supporters.
TikTok continues to be in the crosshairs of state governments. Adam is at the Now Desk, so sounds like 2 more states moved to ban it on government devices, right?
Yeah, Georgia and New Hampshire, the latest to ban it on those state-issued devices. Both Republican governors say the ban is about safety and privacy. Some lawmakers say they're worried the Chinese government may be able to access users' personal information or spread misinformation through apps like TikTok. They're among at least a dozen governors now to make this change. Georgia and New Hampshire also banning the messaging app WeChat.
So if you filled up at the pump lately, you've likely noticed it's getting easier on your wallet. A live look now at AAA's gas price tracker. You can see today's national average is $3.18. That's the lowest it's been since September of 2021 and a whopping 56 cents lower than a month ago. 19 states now have an average gas price under $3 a gallon. Ohio, thankfully, one of them. Here in Montgomery County, the average price for a gallon of gas is now $2.76.
Local company giving away more than $1 million this holiday season to its employees and to charities. And the giving back stretches far beyond the tri-state area. Jenna Cisneros shares the emotions behind the money.
Since Giving Tuesday, LASIK Plus CEO Craig Joffe chooses a standout employee each week to give a monetary gift to. The employees, in turn, get to show their gratitude by giving away money to other employees and to charities that are important to them. Payroll Administrator Molly Hamilton is one of 70 employees nationwide touched by the generosity.
I can't find the words. It really is amazing. I'm still haven't gotten used to the idea that I'm getting it, but it's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
And the giving doesn't stop there. In addition to the $10,000 she was gifted, Molly was told to pick a charity and another employee to donate to. Our cameras were rolling as she surprised her coworker, Kayla. Each week, they select a new employee, so some have yet to find out their winners. The company plans to continue this until January. Reporting in Cincinnati, I'm Jenna Cisneros. Back to you.
Live look in Springboro now. Beautiful shot there where Orville Lights is just getting started. It's a free choreographed light show put on by all the neighbors in the Settlers Walk cul-de-sac. This is the third year of that event. Two of the neighbors are engineers and they work all year to design it. There's even a drop box for letters to Santa and he writes back to each one. You can see the show every night starting at 6. It goes until 9 on weekdays, until 10 on weekends. It's all happening at 75 Orville Court in Springboro. And you can learn more at their Facebook page. Just search for the Orville Lights.
Well, a big day in Pike County Court on Monday as George Wagner IV will learn his fate. After the break, what to expect as survivors will get their first chance to directly address a member of the family accused in the Pike County massacre.
And local groups, they are teaming up to give back to families in need this holiday. Up next, how they're making sure local children have presents under the tree this Christmas.
And coming up, I'll break down your chances of some winter weather the rest of this weekend. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
The storm system that brought tornadoes to the south and a blizzard to the northern plains is now dropping snow in the northeast. Some places could see up to 18 inches before the storm finally moves out early Saturday. Then next week we get ready for Arctic cold. Let's end this busy weather week with a fantastic sunrise. This comes to us from central New York along Oneida Lake.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on TikTok.
Now, that Arctic cold he mentioned will be something that is impacting us next week. We'll have a little bit more on that shortly. What we're tracking right now, though, are flurries through the night tonight and into the day Saturday. It's going to be a nice end of the weekend. Sunday looking pretty decent after midday when the clouds clear out and the winter chill will be locking in. So taking a look at your next weather maker. Tomorrow looking like a generally cloudy, gloomy day. We do have the chance of some flurries, so if you're heading out, keep that in mind. Overall, we're not expecting much in the way of accumulation. By 1 p.m., looking like it's just going to be overcast, no really precipitation falling once again until the evening, when we do have a little bit more moisture setting up. I'll have more on the temperatures in the next 10 days after this.
All right, thanks so much. The man convicted of helping his family kill 8 members of another family in the Pike County massacre in 2016 faces his punishment Monday. James Pilcher shows us what to expect when George Wagner IV learns his fate.
A jury of 9 women and 3 men took less than 8 hours to find George Wagner IV guilty on all 22 charges for his role in the 2016 Pike County massacre. Now Wagner must not only face his punishment, but the survivors from the Roden, Gilley, and Manley families. They get their first opportunity to address a Wagner directly about the crimes. Wagner was on trial for more than 3 months for his role in killing 8 members of the Roden and Gilley families. It became one of the longest and most expensive criminal trials in Ohio history. Wagner's younger brother Jake testified against him, saying George helped prepare for the murders and went along that night, but didn't actually kill anyone. In pre-sentence motions, Wagner's lawyers asked for a sentence which would give him the possibility of a parole. The prosecution asked for the maximum possible, life without parole, and for the 8 murder counts to be served consecutively.
And that was James Pilcher reporting. Now, Elon Musk under fire once again, this time over suspending the Twitter accounts of multiple journalists. Adam is at the Now Desk, so as Musk explained why he suspended their accounts.
Well, it seems to all come from the Twitter account that tracked his private jet's real-time location information. He tweeted out that any account doxing real-time location information of anyone will be suspended, and that includes posting links to sites with real-time location information. So Musk seems to be accusing those journalists, which includes reporters from CNN, the New York Times, and Washington Post, of doing just that. Now, no evidence was shared by him of that, though. It's unclear right now how long those accounts will be suspended.
A story from our partners at the Dayton Business Journal now. An existing Dayton Children's Outpatient Care Center and urgent care is set to expand to accommodate the increased need for health care access. The Huber Heights City Council is expected to give final approvals for the proposed addition, which would add 12 more exam rooms. This comes 8 years after the site was initially approved for development. Dayton Children sees more than 300,000 patients a year. So to learn more about the expansion, we have all the details for you right now on Dayton247now.com. You can find this story plus others like it right there under the Dayton Business Journal heading in the news tab.
The college football bowl season, already underway. In fact, one game already complete, and it involved a team from the state of Ohio. Miami, Ohio, was facing UAB Friday afternoon in the Bahamas Bowl. The game would feature an eventful second half with the lead going back and forth between the Redhawks and Blazers. UAB scoring a go-ahead touchdown in the final 2 minutes, but then Miami nearly drove back down the field. They weren't able to find the end zone, though, before time ran out. Miami finishes the season 6-7. They are one of 6 teams from the MAC playing in a bowl game this postseason. And bowl season continues early Saturday. Cincinnati, they're going against Louisville in the Fenway Bowl at 11 a.m. The two used to be rivals in both Conference USA and the Big East, but this will be their first meeting since 2013. The big link currently between these two is that Scott Satterfield has stepped down as the Cardinals head coach to take over at UC. So both teams will have interim head coaches for tomorrow's game. It's the very first edition of the Fenway Bowl to be played at Fenway Park in Boston. Also, it's week 15 of the NFL season. Several games scheduled for Saturday, but the Bengals have a mid-afternoon game Sunday when they travel to Tampa Bay. It'll be the first meeting between quarterbacks Joe Burrow and Tom Brady. Perhaps inevitably, Burrow was asked questions this week about potential comparisons or if he is the heir apparent to Brady. Burrow basically downplaying those questions, saying they're two different people. Bengals are tied with the Ravens for the AFC North lead, but Baltimore currently holds the head-to-head tiebreaker.
A live look now at the Christmas countdown clock. There are just 8 days left till the big day, and the FOP and Dayton police are ready to bring Christmas spirit to local families in need. It's all part of the Angel Tree program. Officers, retirees, and even some members taking part in adopting families who were nominated. Each family is then given gifts to place under their Christmas tree, and each child will also receive a coat. Officers say it's a great thing for the community, and it also brightens their day too.
Especially working nights, we don't really see that many children, and if we do, it's a bad situation. So to be able to see a positive side of what we do, it refreshes our whys.
Now, the FOP and Dayton police do this every year. In fact, this year they're going to be helping 11 families with a total of 46 children.
All right, well, let's talk about weather for a moment. Tim is in for Natalie. It is getting colder and colder. It sounds like the weekend's going to continue that trend.
It is going to continue that trend. Wind chills are going to be a factor too. Going into the wind chills right now, you can see sitting around 27 here in Dayton, so it feels a lot colder than it actually is. Taking a look at your future C19 around Saturday 9 a.m. looking really cold. And as we move on through Sunday morning, temperatures are going to feel like they're in the single digits. So it's going to feel a lot colder than it actually is. Taking a look through the rest of the day Sunday, it is going to feel like it's in the teens. We're expecting much of the more in the next 10 days.
All right, Tim, thanks. Well, it's just over a week until Christmas. Still ahead, a fun activity for you and your family to enjoy the last weekend before the big day.
So what's the difference between a hurricane, a typhoon, and a tropical cyclone? There really isn't a difference. It's all about where they are. In the North Atlantic and the East Pacific, we call it a hurricane. In the Northwest Pacific, we call it a typhoon. They both fall under this classification of tropical cyclone, which is what it's called in pretty much every other ocean basin. So they're all the same. They all have winds of at least 74 miles per hour, and they all
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Well, if you're looking to get festive, Nathan Edwards has you covered. He shows us how you get into the holiday spirit the last weekend before Christmas.
Well, we all know Santa, of course, but do you know Krampus? Yeah, Krampus is actually for the naughty children, and Krampus is going to be at the Yuletide Village down at the Renaissance Park this weekend, the final weekend of the Yuletide Village. And it's super easy to go on out. Fridays and Saturdays starting at 5 o'clock. On Friday, Saturday starting at 3, running till 9 o'clock. And you can go on out there, get some selfies with Krampus. You can also go out and take donations to help local organizations as well. And this is really like a kind of Dickens-themed Christmas festival. Tons of lights, tons of stuff for the family to do. Kids under 13 are free, so head on out there. It's a great time. Again, this is the last time of the season you can go this weekend, so head on out to Yuletide Village for a Merry Christmas and a whole lot of fun.
All right, so wrapping things up in the weather world tonight, temperature's going to drop down into the mid to upper 20s. Isolated flurries across the region. Going to be a very cold night. Cold's going to stick with us through the day tomorrow. Temperatures right around 30 degrees for most of us, 32 in Dayton. Once again, isolated flurries throughout the day. Taking a look at your extended forecast, flurries on Saturday. Sunday looking pretty decent, just pretty cold. Monday, Tuesday, partly cloudy. And then by Thursday, it looks like we are tracking the possibility of a little bit of snow. And
Wait, 8 degrees? What is this?
That is the low
Are you missing a number there?
Yeah,
the next day models are saying negative.
Oh,
so
boy.
If 8 was like the first number and then there was like another one after that,
That'd be
that would be
nice.
nice.
No, I like a nice 70, partly cloudy.
Okay.
I'll take that too.
All right, yeah, sure. I'm not too picky. All right, Tim, thanks. Thanks for joining us. We're over on Fox next. We'll see you there.